Om Jnanatibrandasya Jananjala Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Chichitayamanobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Shvam Rupakadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shiyo Shiyuda Padakamanam Shiyum Vaishnavamsha Shirupam Jagachatam Saganaragnatam Vitam Tam Sajivan Sadvaitam Savdupnutam Parjana Saitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Saganalita Shri Vishakam Vitam Shah He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jatpate Gopesha Gopka Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kansana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshri Vrishabhana Sutta Devi Pranamama Haripriye Vancha Kalptruvasha Kripas Nabhavasha Patinam Pavanabhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namah Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vastaya Bhutale
Recording in progress.
Bhakti Charaswamti Namani. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namani. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharani. Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paskachai Dasatarni. Srila Prabhupada Ki. So today we will discuss chapter 21. Bali Maharaj will be arrested by Lord Vamandev. And he has just taken his second step. And his second step is reaching beyond Satyaloka. Who lives in Satyaloka? Lord Brahma. So we will now hear about the experience of Lord Brahma by Sukadev Goswami. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Cheva Narottanam Devim Sarasvatim Vyasam Tato Jamudirayat Nastubheshya Bhadresu Nityam Bhagavata Sevya Bhagavati Uttamaslake Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Shri Sukha Uvacha Satyam Samiksya Bhavo Nakendubich Uttasvadama Jyotirafrito Bhyakat Marichimisham Rishayo Bhyatvrata Sanandanandya Naradeva Yohina. Can someone please read the translation of the first text?
Shukadeva Goswami continued. When Lord Brahma, who was born of a lotus flower, saw that the effulgence of his residence, Brahmaloka, had been reduced by the glaring effulgence from the toenails of Lord Vamanadev, he approached the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Accompanied by deities like Sanandana, but in the presence of that glaring effulgence, O king, even Lord Brahma and his associates seemed insignificant.
Thank you. Just imagine you are in your house and then a big fruit comes from the ground somewhere up into the sky and it's very effulgent. So they see the bottom of his foot and the marks on his foot. What is this? These effulgence. What is taking away the effulgence of our residence? Can someone read text 2 and 3, please? Translation.
Hare Krishna. Among the great personalities who came to worship the lotus feet of the Lord were those who had attained perfection in self-control and regulative principles, as well as experts in logic, history, general education, and the Vedic literature known as Kalpa, dealing with old historical incidents. Others were expert in the Vedic corollaries like Brahma Samhita, all the other knowledge of the Vedas, Sama, Yajur, Rig, and Adharva, and also the supplementary Vedic knowledge, Ayurveda, Dhanurveda, etc. Others were those who had been freed of the reactions of fruitive activities by transcendental knowledge, awakened by practice of yoga. And still others were those who had attained residence in Brahmaloka not by ordinary karma, but by advanced Vedic knowledge. After devotedly worshipping the upraised lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, with oblations of water, Lord Brahma, who was born of the lotus emanating from Lord Vishnu's navel, offered
He offered prayers to the Lord. So, next text, can someone read text 4?
Okay. Water Brahma Kamandalu washed the lotus feet of Lord Vamandev, who is known as Urukrama, the wonderful actor. Thus, that water became so pure that it was transformed into the water of the Ganges, which went flowing down from the sky, purifying the three worlds like the pure fame of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
So, he's Urukrama and Tifrikram, two names. We have an apparent contradiction here. First, he kicked a hole in the universe, and the Ganga came through. And now we hear that Brahma washed his foot with the water of his Kamandalu, and that became Ganga's water. So that contradiction is explained in the purport. Can someone read the purport, please?
Here we understand that the Ganges began when the water from Lord Brahma's Kamandalu washed the lotus feet of Lord Vamandev. But in the fifth canto, it is stated that the Ganges began when Vamadeva's left foot pierced the covering of the universe so that the transcendental water of the causal ocean leaked through. And elsewhere, it is also stated that Lord Narayan appeared as the water of the Ganges. The water of the Ganges, therefore, is a combination of three transcendental waters, and thus the Ganges is able to purify the three worlds. This is the description given by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur.
So it's a combination of three transcendental waters, the Ganges. Good to know that. Now what happened? Will Lord Vamandev remain so big? We will see in text 5. Can someone read text 5?
Lord Brahma and all the predominating deities of the various planetary systems began to worship Lord Vamanadeva, their supreme master, who had reduced himself from his all-pervading form to his original form. They collected all the ingredients and paraphernalia for this worship.
Yes. So we will also read the purport here.
Vamanadeva first expanded himself to the universal form and then reduced himself to the original Vaman Rupam. Thus he acted exactly
What request of Arjuna first showed his universal form and later showed.
Arjuna. First showed his universal form and later resumed his original form as Krishna. The Lord can assume any form he likes, but his original
Is that of Krishna? Krishna's true Bhagavan Swayam.
according to the capacity of the devotee, the Lord assumes various forms so that the devotee can handle him. This is his causeless mercy. When Lord Vamandeva resumed his original form, Lord Brahma and his associates collected various paraphernalia for worship with which to please him.
Okay, preparation for for the worship, and that collecting all the paraphernalia in the Pancharatka Vidhi, that's a upadan, preparing to do the puja. That so I stopped my video because my internet is too weak, and I may be disconnected if I continue with the video, but you hear me. So Vamandev again reduced himself for worship. Yasoda saw the universal form, but Krishna kept his form as a small baby. It was different. Because Krishna, as a baby, just opened his mouth, that was enough. Everything, the whole universe was in his mouth. Because he did not want to disturb Mother Yasoda's love for him. Therefore he did not expand and kept his form as a small baby. So this is the difference between Krishna and all the other incarnations. The other incarnations, to do something wonderful, they assume a gigantic form like Nrsimhadev, but Krishna keeps his sweet childish form, and he can kill any demons and do anything. Fighting with huge wrestlers, that is the difference between Krishna and other incarnations. Now, the puja of Lord Brahma, that comes next. Can someone read text 6-7, please?
They worship the Lord.
Continue, Mataji, please continue.
Padya and Arghya, Sanjog, pulp, and Aguru, pulp, incense, lamps, fused, rice, unbroken grains, fruits, roots, and sprouts. While so doing, they offered prayers indicating the glorious activities of the Lord and shouted, Jaya, Jaya. They also danced, played instruments, sang, sounded conch shells, and beat kettle drums. In this way, worship.
So, in this way, worshipping the Lord. Just imagine, Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and all the demigods are dancing, probably chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. A comment by Boyjan Prabhu. They are all offering different elements, and they have all a good vibration. In the material world, a bar or club has a bad vibration, and it brings you down. But these things are very purifying. So, can someone read text 8, please?
King of the Bears also joined in the ceremony, sounding his bugle in all directions. He declared a great festival for Lord Vamandev's victory.
Thank you. That it didn't come true here, probably it's from my side, but I repeat it, Jambavan, king of the bears, also joined in the ceremony. Sounding his bugle in all directions, he declared a festival for Lord Vaman's Day victory. So previously there was no email, no internet, no WhatsApp, that whatever, that the means of communications were different. The king would send out messengers all over the kingdom to beat drums and make proclamations. So for the universe we have Jambavan. He's the messenger all over the universe. I have an excerpt here from the Ramayana telling exactly how he did it. Ramayana. This is from the Kishkinda Kanda. Sugriva, the king of the monkeys, is sending soldiers north, east, south and west to look for Sita. So he sent Angada's party, which included Hanuman and Jambavan, and he sent them to the south. They did not find Sita in the south, and finally they came at the ocean. Angada was the leader of the party, so he's asking for volunteers to jump 100 yojanas to Lanka. Whoever can jump 100 yojanas can rescue Sita. Whoever can do it, step forward, Angada said. Nobody responded. So Angada started to ask the monkeys individually how far they could jump. One after another, the monkeys responded. Some said that they could jump 10 yojanas, some 20, some 30, some 40 or 50. And Mahendra said, I could jump 60 yojanas. Trivida claimed he could jump 70 yojanas. Sushena declared he could jump 80. Then Jambavan spoke. Formerly, I had almost an unlimited jumping capability, but now at the end of my life I can jump 90 yojanas and no more. He can only go 90 at that age, and of course, and he lived until Krishna's pastimes. So he lived much longer than that. Of course, Vaman Lila was before Ram Lila. So here is what is happening. Long ago, when Lord Vamandev had covered the entire universe, I circumambulated him. As he took his 3 strides, his 3 steps. And now, unfortunately, I'm not able to jump to Lanka to save Sita. In the past, this little jump would have been nothing for me. Lord Vamandev expanded his 3 steps to take away Bali Maharaj's kingdom, and I soared around the world 21 times. So before Jambavan was immensely powerful. And here it says that he was playing his bugle, announcing the victory of Vamandev. He circumambulated 21 times. And at the same time he was blowing his bugle and making the announcement that Vamandev has conquered the universe. He was going around the universal form 21 times. Jambavan was also there at the time of churning of the milk ocean. When the demigods and Asuras desired to churn the nectar of immortality from the milk ocean, it was I who single-handed collected all the herbs that were thrown into the milk ocean. Collecting the herbs did not mean just one garden. He had to go all over the universe. I'm very old, so now it's up to Hanuman to exhibit his astonishing power. It was Tetra Yuga when Lord Ram appeared, and the Vaman pastime was much before that. So by the time Jambavan had gotten a bit old, many millions of years old, and still he lived until Dwapara Yuga, for Lord Krishna's pastimes, and he fought with Krishna over the Shamantaka jewel. So that's an amazing pastime of Jambavan. Now we are going to the entire story first, and can you ask someone to read from text 9 up to 23? 9. Yes, only the translation. Yes?
When the demoniac followers of Maharaj Bali saw that their master, who had been determined in performing sacrifice, had lost all his possessions to Vamanadev, who had taken them away on the plea of begging three places of land, they were very angry and spoke as follows.
Yes.
This Vamanadev is certainly not a Brahmana, but the best of cheaters, Lord Vishnu. Assuming the form of a Brahmana, he has covered his own form, and thus he is working for the interests of the demigods.
Hare Krishna. 11.
Our Lord Bali Maharaj, this our eternal enemy Vishnu, dressed in the form of a brahmachari beggar, has taken away all his possessions. Our Lord Bali Maharaj is always fixed in truthfulness, and this is especially performing the sacrifice. He's always kind and merciful toward the Brahmanas, and he cannot at any time speak lies. Therefore, it is our duty to kill this Vamanadeva, Lord Vishnu. It is our religious principle and the way to serve our master. After making this decision, the demoniac followers of Bali Maharaj took up their various weapons with a view to killing Vamanadev. O king, the demons, aggravated by their usual anger, took their lances and tridents in hand, and against the will of Bali Maharaj, they pushed forward to kill Lord Vamanadev. O king, when the associates of Lord Vishnu saw the soldiers of the demons coming forward in violence, they smiled. Taking up their weapons, they forbade the demons to continue their attempt. Nanda, Sunanda, Jaya, Vijaya, Prabala, Bala, Kumuda, Kumudaksha, Vishwaksena, Patritirata, Garuda, Jayanta, Shrutadeva, Pushpadanta, and Satavata were all associates of Lord Vishnu. They were as powerful as 10,000 elephants, and now they began killing the soldiers of the demons. When Bali Maharaj saw that his own soldiers were being killed by the associates of Lord Vishnu, he remembered the curse of Shukracharya and forbade his soldiers to continue fighting. O Viprachiti, O Rahu, O Nemi, please hear my words. Don't fight. Stop immediately, for the present time is not in our favor. O Daityas, by human efforts, no one can supersede the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who can bring happiness and distress to all living entities. The supreme time factor, which represents the Supreme Person, was previously in our favor and not in favor of the demigods. But now that same time factor is against us. No one can surpass the time representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead by material power, by the council of ministers, by intelligence, by diplomacy, by fortresses, by mystic mantras, by drugs, by herbs, or by any other means. Previously, being empowered by Providence, you defeated a great number of such followers of Lord Vishnu. But today, those same followers have defeated us, are roaring in jubilation like lions.
So, Bali Maharaj is preaching to his demoniac friends. Don't fight, time is not in our favor. This is to pacify them. He does not want to fight with Vamandev. He loves Vamandev and wants to serve him. But at the same time, he has to preach to his demoniac friends. Can someone read the purport of 23?
Bhagavad Gita mentions 5 causes of defeat or victory. Of these 5, Daiva, providence, is the most powerful. Nacha Daivat Parambalam. Bali Maharaj knew the secret of how he had formerly been victorious because providence was in his favor. Now, since that same providence was not in his favor, there was no possibility of his victory. Thus, he very intelligently forbade his associates to fight.
Yeah, right. Can someone read text 24?
Unless providence is in our favor, we shall not be able to gain victory. Therefore, we must wait for that favorable time when our defeating them will be possible.
So it's not that they stop being a demon. He says, don't worry, now we will lose, but at the time will come, we will be victorious again. Bali Maharaj is still keeping his identity as the king of the demons, because he must pacify them, although he's a pure devotee, a Marjan. He's saying, don't worry, we will be victorious in the future. So, can someone read text 25 and 26, please?
Sukadeva Goswami continued, O king, in accordance with the order of the question.
Yeah, but
Bali
first read.
Sukadeva Goswami continued, O king, in accordance with the order of their master, Bali Maharaj, all the chiefs of demons and the Daityas entered the lower region of the universe, to which they were driven by the soldiers of Vishnu.
And text 26 also in the purport, please.
Therefore, on the day of Sompan, after the sacrifice was finished, Garud, king of the worlds, but understanding the desire of his master, arrested Bali Maharaj with the ropes of Varun.
And the purport.
And Garud, the constant companion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, knows the confidential part of the Lord's desire. Bali Maharaj's tolerance and devotion were undoubtedly super excellent. Garud arrested Bali Maharaj to show the entire universe the greatness of the king's tolerance.
So now Lord Vamandev is going to test Bali Maharaj. He has taken everything from him, defeated his soldiers, bound him up, is being insulted and cursed by his guru. But actually what we will see are his exalted qualities coming through. He will pass the test with flying colors. Krishna tests us. That 27. Someone can read 27, please. And 28 also.
When Bali Maharaj was thus arrested by Lord Vishnu, who is the most powerful, there was a great roar of lamentations in all directions throughout the upper and lower planetary systems of the universe.
Yeah, so now everyone is on his side, the demigods and the demons. None of them were happy that Bali Maharaj was bound. Now, text 28.
O King, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vamandeva, then spoke to Bali Maharaj, the most liberal and celebrated personality, whom he had arrested with the rope of Varuna. Bali Maharaj had lost all bodily lusters, but he was nonetheless fixed in his determination.
So this is one of his qualities, determination in devotional service. Everyone is against him. Just imagine, your friends, your guru, even the Lord. Everyone is giving you a hard time, even the Supreme Lord himself. Imagine in what a position he is here. How is going to react to all of this? Can someone read the purport, please?
When one is bereft of all his possessions, he is certainly reduced in bodily luster. But although Bali Maharaj had lost everything, he was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In Bhagavad Gita, such a person is called Sthita Prajna. A pure devotee is never deviated from the service of the Lord, despite all difficulties and impediments offered by the illusory energy. Generally, men who have wealth and opulence are famous, but Bali Maharaj became famous for this is the special mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead towards his devotees. The Lord says, Yasyaham anugranami harishye tad dhanam shanai. Srimad Bhagavatam 10 Canto 88 chapter verse number 8. As the first installment of his special favor, the Lord takes away all the possessions of his devotee. A devotee, however, is never disturbed by such a loss. He continues his service, and the Lord amply rewards him beyond the expectation of any common man.
So, one thing is that Bali Maharaj did not lose his determination. So we should keep our determination whatever happens to satisfy the Lord. This happens millions of years ago and we are still remembering him. Srila Prabhupada said that I had 40 rupees and now I have 40 crores. I had 5 children and now I have 5,000 children. I had one house and now I have temples all over the world. But I'm also cursed. I cannot stay in any place more than 3 times. So, if we go to the second canto, there we have Bali Maharaj. It's mentioned there in 2718. Srimad Bhagavatam. Bali Maharaj, who put on his head the water washed from the lotus feet of the Lord, did not think of anything besides his promise, in spite of being forbidden by his spiritual master. The king dedicated his own personal body to fulfill the measurement of the Lord's third step. For such a personality, even the kingdom of heaven, which he conquered by his strength, was of no value. Srila Prabhupada in the following purport explains that if the Lord takes everything away, then that is his special favor. That I will read only a part of the purport. So it says, when the Lord snatches away the hard-earned material possessions and favors one with his personal transcendental service for eternal life, bliss and knowledge, such taking away by the Lord should be considered a special favor upon the pure devotee. Further in the purport, the more one spiritually advances by devotional service to the Lord, in exchange for his temporary possessions, the more one is freed from the attachment of material illusion. So yes, now we can read the verses 29 till 32. 29 can read.
Hare Krishna. O king of the demons, you have promised to give me 3 steps of land, but I have occupied the entire universe with 2 steps. Now think about where I should put my third.
Yeah, text 30.
As far as the sun and moon shine with the stars, and as far as the clouds pour rain, all the land throughout the universe is in your possession. Of these possessions, with 1 step, I have occupied Bhurloka, and with my body I have occupied the entire sky and all directions. And in your presence, with my 2nd step, I have occupied the upper planetary system.
Yes, 32.
Because you have been unable to give charity according to your promise, the rule is that you should go down to live in the hellish planets. Therefore, in accordance with the order of Shukracharya, your spiritual master, now go down and live there.
So, Vamandev gives 2 reasons why he has to go down to the lower planetary system. He says, it's a rule of the universe that if you break your promise, you go to hell. So he broke his promise. And you disobey the order of the Guru, Shukracharya. Therefore, you have to go down. Okay, but read the purport of the 32.
It is said, Narayana parasarvena kutaschana vipyati svargapavarga narake shvapituyartha darshanaham. Devotees solely engaged in the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, never fear any condition of life. For them, the heavenly planets, liberation, and the hellish planets are all the same. For such devotees are interested only in the service of the Lord. Srimad Bhagavatam 6:17-28. A devotee engaged in the service of Narayana is always in equilibrium. A devotee actually lives transcendentally. Although he may appear to have gone to hell or heaven, he does not live in either place. Rather, he always lives in Vaikuntha. Sagunam samatityetan brahma guyaya kalpate. Vamanadeva asked Bali Maharaja to go to the hellish planets apparently just to show the entire universe how tolerant he was, and Bali Maharaja did not hesitate to carry out the order. A devotee does not live alone. Of course, everyone lives with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but because the devotee is engaged in his service, he actually does not live in any material condition. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Kita janma haoyad hatuya dasa. Thus, he prays to take birth as an insignificant insect in the association of devotees. Because devotees are engaged in the service of the Lord, anyone who lives with them also lives in Vaikuntha.
So, pure devotee is always in Vaikuntha consciousness. Can someone else read text 33 and 34?
Far from being elevated to the heavenly planets or fulfilling one's desire, one who does not properly give a beggar what he has promised falls down to a hellish condition of life. Being falsely proud of your possessions, you promised to give me land, but you could not fulfill your promise. Therefore, because your promise was false, you must live for a few years in hellish life.
Interesting. So, I will read a part of the purport. Bali Maharaj was undoubtedly the most exalted devotee, whereas previously he had maintained a misunderstanding due to false prestige. By the supreme will of the Lord, he now had to go to the hellish planets, but because he went there by the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he lived there more opulently than one could expect to live in the planets of heaven. A devotee always lived with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, engaging in his service, and therefore is always transcendental to hellish or heavenly residences. So, what was Bali Maharaj's misunderstanding? Can someone tell me that? What was Bali Maharaj's misunderstanding? What did he that?
Well, probably his desire to conquer all three worlds.
Yes, that his misunderstanding was, this universe belongs to me. That was his misunderstanding. So this is chapter 21. Chapter 22 is a very big chapter and can take us two lessons at least. But any questions so far? What do we learn from these pastimes for our own practice? What's most important in this pastime? Everything was against him, even the Supreme Lord. But he continued his devotional service and giving his love to Lord Vamandev.
Maharaj, it's hard to see. Sometimes it's hard to understand the mercy of the Lord. That how Lord is being merciful, and some of the actions, some of the things that we have to go through could be for our betterment. Like here we see with Bali Maharaj, but it's hard to understand sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And then another thing is, Bali Maharaj says that time is not in our favor. This is something I've seen even in other chapters. We see that if similarly when the time is not in the favor of the demigods, they lost the heavenly planets. So they say, okay, it's in the control of the demigod. Lord Vishnu says, you wait for some time.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the time element is another thing that again we have to just depend on the mercy of the Lord. And Bali Maharaj maintained his composure. He didn't. And another thing you can notice because of his background and his control of senses and devotion.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. Sorry.
When I was in a situation quite similar to Bali Maharaj, everyone rejected me. My Guru Maharaj gave me the instruction, and I found that very interesting. Whatever happens in your life, good or bad, see it as the mercy of Krishna. It's the mercy of Krishna. Advaita Krishna Prabhu, please.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. I mean, can we draw a lesson that we have to act according to our position in devotional service? Like even in Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna says to Arjuna, you have to act according to your prescribed duty. But then if we said yes to that, would that mean that being in a position to serve is what pleases the Lord? Therefore, being in a particular position is part of devotional service? That would be not the right conclusion, but it seems like that here. Otherwise, he had everything going for him. He was trying to please the Lord. He was doing everything, but yet he was still reprimanded.
Yes, I was thinking of Lord Krishna's first instructions in Bhagavad Gita. He says, Deinosmin chatade kamram charvam charata tate antarapaptir diastatra namuyati. Arjuna, your body changes from boy to youth to adult and so on. And finally you have to leave the body. And these are all changes. You have to tolerate these changes. And then Krishna says, Matras pastakantya situsnasu kadukadaka mapini natyastam stitiksosva Bharata. O son of Bharat, you should tolerate this happiness in distress, like someone tolerates heat in the summer, cold in the winter. Yamina vyatatante te purusham purushashapa samo dukas kamsyam somitatva kalpate. And if you can tolerate, Arjuna, this happiness and distress as they come, then you are ready for liberation. So we must become ready for liberation and tolerate this happiness and distress. And we see here Bali Maharaj, he remains Drita Vrata, that he remains fixed in his devotional service. And that is something we must learn, whatever happens, good or bad. That, my Guru Maharaj always said, Bhakti Maharaj, he said, yes, whatever happens, never leave ISKCON. Whatever happens, never give up the shelter of Srila Prabhupada. Whatever happens, you continue with your devotional service. And that is what Bali Maharaj made. That made him a Mahajan. That whatever happens, and we will not analyze further in chapter 22, that will become very clear. That because we think...
Thank you, but it's kind of hard to, when you see in this case, when the Lord was against him, even the Lord trying to condemn him and bound him and put him in sort of prison or in the, with this kind of a big lesson. And that, thank you, Maharaj.
That it is a big lesson. So, but I think this is what surrender means. That, and we see that also with the Pandavas. They never complained, never. Even Krishna was there. They knew who Krishna was, but they never complained. So that's a symptom of a pure devotee. That we must first accept our position as the mercy of Krishna. Whatever. First, of course, we have the position according to our karma. We get reactions to our karma. We don't, Krishna says, I'm in Bhagavad Gita, nadate kayachit papam nachevet sukritam vipam. I'm not responsible for this karma. And that we are responsible. We are because the acts of our previous lives. And because we become Krishna consciousness, we may say, okay, we are expecting Krishna takes that away, but Krishna wants us also to be responsible and get your reactions That's be responsible. And Krishna wants us to learn to be responsible. But in the 10th canto, of course, in the 14th chapter, Lord Brahma says, that yes, a devotee suffers, but he knows Krishna reduces it. It's not a full suffering. And that's interesting. We don't get a full, but we still get reactions. Because this body is made of reactions. If you don't get reactions anymore, then you don't have a material body, because the body itself is a reaction. Prabhupada says it's like a fan who runs out. You unplug it from the electronics, and then when your karma is run out, you don't get a new body anymore. And it's tough sometimes because of our false ego, that we expect honor, we don't want to be treated badly, and so on. But yes, it happens. That it may happen even in our movements. Sometimes so many politics that it's part of it. It's not you. No, it's not that you come in association of only devotees, and my life will become Rose and Sharanamritam. It's not like that. You will still get your reactions, and the devotees will be the devotees will be so kind to bring you the reaction that. So yes. Any other?
There's also an explanation you said about. I have another question, but just one comment. Like the body is definitely like it's gone. There's a comparison. I think it's at the teachings of Maharaj Rahugan and also Puranjana Vyakyan, where he said that the chariot of the body is made of two wheels, good and bad reactions, right? It's definitely the truth. My other question, Maharaj, was what would we understand providence to be here? The effect of time or the effect of time and karma together? When we discussed about providence in 3 verses further up.
Time and karma.
How would you try to understand providence? Yeah.
Time and karma goes together. That I'm studying for 25 years Priyat Parasara Hora Shastra, and astrology is just a calculation of your karma. That's what it is. And what was your point again that you said? The last thing?
Yeah. Is it time or is it a combination of time and karma, or just providence means what?
Well, in astrology, and that I wanted to say, you have the Vimsodari Das periods. Your periods you are going to do. And there are periods with different karma. According to the influence of the planets in your birth chart. So there you have it. You have times, for sometimes it sometimes will be very troublesome, sometimes will be influenced by Rahu.
Yes.
And then you get illusion and so on. That if you are not Krishna conscious, you have to be careful in that period. Because illusion is very strong. Or in another period you have Venus, and Venus means enjoyment. Enjoyment comes up in your mind. It's very dangerous in Krishna consciousness. So these periods are there, and it's periods of time. That periods of time in that certain modes become strong. And Venus is a mode of passion. That Saturn is a mode of ignorance. And then you have Mars is also passion. Jupiter is goodness somewhere. So these are the influence of the modes in our and in certain periods some modes are stronger than the others. So if the modes of ignorance is strong and passion, the demons will become strong. And Krishna infuses them with these modes, and they become strong. The demigods become strong by infusing them in the mode of goodness. So it's all time is, and therefore in the Vedic system you had Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, and the Dwapara Yuga, Kali Yuga. In Satya Yuga, influence of the mode of goodness. Treta Yuga, passion comes in. Dwapara Yuga, full passion. And Kali Yuga, passion, ignorance. So those are times that are favorable, unfavorable times. Of course, from the modes of nature, that is another thing. The demons will think the times of a lot of passion, that's good. and the demigods think, times of goodness, then we become powerful. But it's at the end all illusion. But whether you suffer or get enjoyment in this world, it's all the body concept of life. It keeps you in this world. Therefore, for a devotee, suffering or so-called happiness is not interested in that. He's interested in serving the Lord. And that is what we have to focus on. Sometimes devotees come to me when they tell me all their problems. I hear these problems, but everyone has problems. You just engage in devotional service and you fix your mind on Krishna, and your problems are gone during the time you are fixing in devotional service. So we should always be fixed in devotional service, then there are no problems. And we will see for Bali Maharaj that he will feel quite embarrassed. But the reason why he's embarrassed is that Prahlad Maharaj is there. And he felt that I'm not giving properly my devotion on Vaman. He will hear that his inner mood. But his inner mood is going through that, but he's not suffering. It's not suffering, we will see in chapter 22.
Just another
please.
Small point to reconcile, Maharaj, you help. Bhishma Dev said to Yudhishthira Maharaj in the same idea of why they suffered while they were in association of Lord Krishna and in the association of Arjuna and so on and so forth. He said, Sarvakalam Kritam Maniya, he said it's only time factor, because they had done nothing that would have made them suffer. So when is that a little bit different? Like for us, we can understand there's so much karma, and in the fullness of time, the karma will come and hit us. But when Bhishma Dev said, it's none of these, and he gave the example of suddenly the blue sky and then a cloud comes because it is being carried by time. And in their case, he said, all these activities you have to suffer is just being carried through by time, but it is not karma.
No.
So in case to case, or because they are Parshada?
Yes, That's true, because they are pure devotees, there is no karma. But they are there for Krishna's pastimes. For Krishna's pastimes, to participate in Krishna's pastimes. And Krishna let them apparently suffering to give an example for us that so that is the case. It's for the pastime that the Pandavas, they are pure devotees. And here also we see Baldi Maharaj is a pure devotee. And all this is done just for the glorification of Baldi Maharaj. We will see. He will come out as a Marjan. It's all for his glorification that Vamandev does that. But if we look at it from the point of ordinary karma, then we are mistaken. That it is all Krishna's arrangement. Factually, Bali Maharaj feels ecstasy of dealing with Vamandev, because he loves him so much, and he gives all his love, and it's just like a theater play to enhance the rasa with this young brahmachari. But that we will learn soon, that we can now have a break. It's now.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you. Clarifies a lot of correlation. Thank you.
Yeah, we will resume again at 6:45 in 12-13 minutes. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Recording in progress.
Hare Krishna, we continue. We continue with chapter 22. Bali Maharaj surrenders his life. So can someone read text 1 and 2?
Hare Krishna. O King, although the Supreme Personality of Godhead was superficially seen to have acted mischievously toward Bali Maharaj was fixed in his determination as follows.
Yeah, text 2, just a moment.
I haven't got my file on text 2, yeah. Hare Krishna Maharaj, sorry. Bali Maharaj, O best personality of Godhead, most worshipable for all the demigods, if you think that my promise has become false, I shall certainly rectify matters to make it truthful. I cannot allow my promise to be false. Please therefore place your third lotus footstep on my head.
So now Bali Maharaj has surrendered everything, and he has become a Marjan, one of the 12 Marjans. This is what made him a Marjan, rejecting his false guru and surrendering everything. So I will go to the purport first. So Bali Maharaj could understand the pretense of Lord Vamandev, who had taken the side of the demigods and come before him as a beggar. Although the Lord's purpose was to cheat him, Bali Maharaj took pleasure in understanding how the Lord will cheat his devotee to glorify his devotee's position. So that's part of his devotional ecstasy. He feels pleasure, ecstasy to see how the Lord will cheat his own devotee. So Baldi Maharaj knew what was behind the cheating. Actually, it was to glorify Baldi Maharaj. He took pleasure that the Lord was cheating him. Whatever relationship you have with the Lord is wonderful, whether it becomes to cheat you or to punish you. It is also a mercy for you. So you have in Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna says to Arjuna, Name Bhakta Pranashati, that my devotee never perishes. And he says to Arjuna, my devotee never perishes, please declare it boldly to everyone. Baladev Vidyabhushan, he put some lines between the Bhagavad Gita, the verses of the Bhagavad Gita to bring it alive. And in this verse, after Krishna spoke this verse, then Arjuna is saying, why are you asking me to declare it to everyone? Why are you not doing it yourself? Arjuna is saying to Krishna. And then Krishna replied, well, he said, I'm from Mathura, Krishna says, and those from Mathura, they are known as cheaters. Then they are known as cheaters, but Krishna says, but they will never cheat those who they love. And that is Krishna. It cheats everyone in the material world to the illusory energy, but his devotee is not cheating. But here we see that Vamandev is cheating Baldi Maharaj. It's very interesting. We can continue reading. It is said that God is good, and this is a fact. Whether it cheats or rewards, is always good. Bali Maharaj therefore addressed him as Uttamasloka. Your lordship, he said, you are always praised with the best of selected verses. On behalf of the demigods, you disguised yourself to cheat me, saying that you wanted only 3 paces of land, but later you expanded your body to such an extent that with 2 footsteps you covered the entire universe. Because you were working on behalf of your devotees, you do not regard this as cheating. Never mind, I cannot be considered a devotee. So he's saying you are helping Indra. I'm not your devotee. So Bali Maharaj will say later in a verse to the Lord that you are favoring the demons more than the devotees, because you are taking away everything. You are taking away everything and taking away our false pride. You give more mercy to us than you give to the demigods. Last part of the purport. Nonetheless, because you are the husband of the goddess of fortune, you have come to me to beg. I must satisfy you to the best of my ability. So please do not think that I wanted to cheat you. Sorry. I must fulfill my promise. I've still my body. When I place my body for your satisfaction, put your 3rd step on my head. Since the Lord had covered the entire universe with 2 steps, one might ask how Bali Maharaj's head could be sufficient for his 3rd step. Bali Maharaj, however, taught that the possessor of wealth must be greater than the possession. Therefore, although the Lord has taken all his possessions, the head of Bali Maharaj, the possessor, would provide an adequate place for the Lord's third step. So remember that Sukacharya had warned him, you won't have a place for your third step. But Srila Prabhupada explains that Krishna gives his devotee intelligence. Bali Maharaj is a Kshatriya and he must fulfill his vow, so he was fixed in his determination. We also need determination to fulfill our promise. We will follow the 4 regulative principles and chant 16 rounds. What does that mean? That even if Krishna cheats, it's good? If he comes to punish you, how is it good? So, Krishna punishes you. How it is good? Can someone tell me, please? How it is good when Krishna punishes you?
Maharaj, it allows us to offer prayers to Krishna with greater surrender.
Okay.
Remember Krishna. Our remembrance is more prayers are more intense. And remembrance is also there, again, more than otherwise it would have been.
Yeah, we are more in the mood of taking shelter. That's true.
Yeah.
Yes. But okay. Someone else? Krishna. Okay, let's continue. Bhaktivinoda Thakur surrendered his body, his mind, his family, home, and he said that he would live as a servant just for all these properties of Krishna. That was Bhaktivinoda Thakur's approach. In Krishna book, the greatest of all surrender was the gopis who risked social ruin and the dangers of the forest at night. This is from a letter by Prabhupada. It says, surrender to the Guru is unconditional. My Guru Maharaj gave me a task. Although I was discouraged by my godbrothers, I did not forget him for a moment, and I was determined to follow my duty. Of course, Krishna says in 4.11, Yeyatamam papachante tamstate bhajamyam. Krishna awards us according to our surrender. That then, and in 15.5, that's a verse which describes the symptoms of a liberated soul. It says, the verse says, one who knows to surrender to the Supreme Lord attains my eternal kingdom. So that's a characteristic of a liberated soul. In Nectar of Devotion, it says, surrender means to rise early, to bath and to go Mangala Arti, even if you lack spontaneous love to do so. That's surrender. Srila Prabhupada said, surrender means to follow all the rules, even the small ones. So, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya describes Lord Chaitanya, who came to teach renunciation, knowledge of himself, and the science of surrender, Bhakti Yoga. Chanting Krishna is to surrender the speaking, hearing and mind in the Jagya of the holy name. So chanting is surrendering the speaking, hearing and mind in the Jagya of the holy name. We must avoid offenses in chanting the holy name and dedicate our lives to the instruction of the spiritual master. So surrender is not whimsical. That it's all authorized, it's scientific. If we practice, then we learn how to surrender. A devotee engaged in a life surrender to Krishna has things to do and does not waste a moment. His goal is to completely surrender to Krishna. so he can get rid of all material desires and serve Krishna more and more and follow in the footsteps as the servant of the servant of the servant of the lover of the gopis. So text 3, it's a similar verse about what Bali Maharaj said before. Moment, I'll bring it on the screen, verse 3. That nearly there. Share. VIHE. Can someone read text 3?
I do not fear being deprived of all my possessions, living in hellish life, being arrested for poverty by the ropes of Varuna, or being punished by you, as much as I fear defamation.
So Bali Maharaj says that he does not want people to think that I'm a cheater. So can someone read the purport, please?
Although Bali Maharaj fully surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he could not tolerate being defamed for cheating a Brahmana Brahmachari. Being quite alert in regard to his reputation, he thought deeply about how to prevent being defamed. The Lord therefore gave him the good counsel to prevent defamation by offering his head. A Vaishnava does not fear any punishment. Narayana para sarvena kutasya bhitti.
Thank you. So now we hear Bali Maharaj speaking from his heart. Can someone read the translation of text 4, please?
Although a father, mother, brother, or friend may sometimes punish one as a well-wisher, they never punish their subordinates like this. But because you're the most worshipable Lord, I regard the punishment you have given me as most exalted.
Yes. So the purport. Punishment meted out by the Supreme Personality of Godhead is accepting by the devotee as the greatest mercy. Tatenu kampam susamikshvano bunjatmaivatma kitam vipakam etvakvapobe vidoda namaste shive tayo mukti pade sadayavak. So one who seeks your compassion and thus tolerates all kinds of adverse conditions due to the karma of his past deeds, who engages always in your devotional service with his mind, words and body, and who always offers obeisance to you, is certainly a bona fide candidate for liberation. A devotee knows that so-called punishment by the Supreme Personality of Godhead is only his favor to correct his devotee and bring him to the right path. Therefore, the punishment awarded by the Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot be compared to even the greatest benefit awarded by one's material father, mother, brother, or friend. So, Bali Maharaj is seeing the punishment as mercy. It is a great test. Maitreya Rishi once asked Srila Prabhupada, is it true, Srila Prabhupada, that Krishna is testing us every day, that we have tests? Srila Prabhupada, if you want a responsible post, then there is... So Srila Prabhupada replied, if you want a responsible post, then there is a question of test. If you want to become a vagabond, a hippie, or do nothing, then where is the question of test? So if you are tested by Krishna, then you are prepared to take some important position in the movement or for Krishna. That is the meaning of test, Srila Prabhupada says. Maitreya Rishi replies, but for devotees also? Srila Prabhupada said, yes, for devotees there is a test. We see from the life of Prahlad Maharaj how many severe tests. And Bali Maharaj and Narada Muni. Maitreya Rishi replies, and the more advanced the devotee, the more severe the test. Srila Prabhupada said, no. After you pass the examination, there are no more tests. Just one big test or math test you get in your life, and when you pass that test, then no more. But before coming to the post of recognized devotee, Krishna tests very severely. And then I found another excerpt. It's from a morning walk in Tehran in 1976. Maitreya Rishi. It is true, Srila Prabhupada, that Krishna is testing us every day. We are having test opportunities. Prabhupada said, no, just like if you want a responsible post, then there is question of test. If you want to become a vagabond, remain vagabond. And where is the question of test? It seems the same quote. It's the same quote. But further say, Hari Sauri said, I read once in Bhagavatam in one of your purports that said that Maya is there to test the sincerity of the candidate. Prabhupada said, yes. We see from the life of Bali Maharaj how he was put into difficulty. Even his spiritual master cursed him. Put into test, and still he remains in his determination. Then he's passed. That is very natural. And there's a word, he said, acid test. Arisari said, yes. Prabhupada said, for ascertaining real gold, the acid test, one has to pass to become real gold. Navayavan said, this test depends on one's faith in Krishna. Prabhupada replied, faith in Krishna? What do you mean by faith? Harisari said, if you want to pass the test, he says, does that depend on one's faith? Prabhupada replied, what does that faith mean? Atreya Rishi said, conviction. Prabhupada replied, what is that conviction? Describe it. Atreya says that Krishna is a controller. Prabhupada said, Krishna is a controller. You have faith or no faith, that doesn't matter. Harisari said, if one is convinced that Krishna will always protect him. Navayavan said, when he's convinced to abide by the instructions of Prabhupada, finally said, faith means that you are meant for giving some service to Krishna. You should stick to that service, that path, in spite of all the impediments. That is passing the test. Generally, just like we are meant for preaching Krishna consciousness. So there may be severe tests, but still we shall remain determined. That is wanted. There may be so many impediments, punishments, still you should do that. That is wanted, that is test. Not as soon as there is some difficulty, I give it up. There may be severe test, but still we shall not give up. We must go, that is determination. So Navayavan Prabhu. Passing the test means executing the order of the spiritual master. Prabhupada said, yes, that is the spiritual life. One is to take the order of the spiritual master and execute it, despite all impediments. That is determination. Faith, Srila Prabhupada explains, is to stick to your service, despite all impediments. That is how you pass the test. You have a service and you stick to it. We do not say that it's too difficult, I do something else. So this is the test. Arjuna passed the test. Arjuna's son Abhimanyu was killed on the battlefield, and Arjuna was lamenting. An Indian man said to Srila Prabhupada, I think that Arjuna was not a pure devotee because after his son died, he was lamenting. How is he a pure devotee? No, it is natural you will lament for your son's death, but simply because his son died, he did not stop his service. He continued the battle and he fought for victory. He did not give up his service because his son died. That is how he is a pure devotee. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj on the 23rd of December 1936 in his last speech to the Gaudiya Math said, "Living in this world one has to face many difficulties. It is not our job to try to remove these difficulties, nor should they depress us. We have no attachment or hostility to anyone in this world. All arrangements in this world are temporary. Everyone has an indispensable need for the absolute truth. May all of you, with one goal and in harmony with each other, attain the right to serve the original Asraya Vigra. It is similar to Srila Prabhupada's words, your love for me will be shown how you cooperate to push forward this movement." So yes, text 5. Someone read text 5 translation.
Yes, Maharaj. Since your lordship is indirectly the greatest well-wisher of us demons, you act for our best welfare by posing as if our enemy. Because demons like us always aspire for a position of false prestige, by chastising us, you give us the eyes by which to see the right path.
Yeah, that is Bali Maharaj realization. He says it from his heart. That so, can someone read the purport, please?
Indeed, Maharaj. Bali Maharaj considered the Supreme Personality of Godhead a better friend to the demons than to the demigods. In the material world, the more one gets material possessions, the more he becomes blind to spiritual life. The demigods are devotees of the Lord for the sake of material possessions. But although the demons apparently do not have the Supreme Personality of Godhead on their side, he always acts as their well-wisher by depriving them of their positions of false prestige. By false prestige, one is misguided, so the Supreme Lord takes away their position of false prestige as a special favor. Thank you.
Thank you. So, you may remember Vritrasur. He was reminding Indra of his heinous activities. Vritrasura said, if one is a devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, and depends on Lord Vishnu in every aspect, then victory, opulence, and peace of mind are all inevitably available. So he was just such a great devotee, Vritrasur, although he was a demon. Although he was in a demon body, he was a devotee. The Lord gave him the remembrance of his past devotion. So even demons can become devotees. And we are lucky about that because most of us were born in demoniac families and we had no knowledge of all these things. Yes, true. Text 6, 7. Can someone read the translation?
Many demons who were continuously inimical towards you finally achieved the perfection of great mystic yoga. Your lordship can perform one work to serve many purposes, and consequently, although you have punished me in many ways, I do not feel ashamed of having been arrested by the ropes of Karuna, nor do I feel aggrieved.
So now he's giving examples of demons who got the mercy. Demons were killed by Krishna and they got the same perfection as mystic yogis. So there's a purport here. Can someone read the purport, please?
Bali Maharaja appreciated the Lord's mercy not only upon him but upon many other demons. Because this mercy is liberally distributed, the Supreme Lord is called all merciful. Bali Maharaja was indeed a fully surrendered devotee, but even some demons who were not at all that all devotees, but merely enemies of the Lord, attain the same exalted position achieved by many master yogis. Thus, Bali Maharaj could understand that the Lord had some hidden purpose in punishing him. Consequently, he was neither unhappy nor ashamed because of the awkward position in which he had been put by the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
So who else was put in an awkward position and was not ashamed? You remember? It was in Canto 8 a few chapters ago.
Gajendra,
Gajendra, he was put in an awkward position, and he was ashamed of his past sinful activities. Lord Shiva, yes, Lord Shiva, met with Mohini Mukti. He was defeated, but Lord Shiva was not ashamed. Because interesting. And now Bala Maharaj is also not ashamed. Why should one feel ashamed to have been put in an awkward position because he likes to appear victorious? But now he's being humiliated and being cursed. Before he was king and now he's tied up and arrested. He lost everything, but instead of being ashamed, he was happy, very happy. He accepted everything as Krishna's plan. So we have to learn from Bali Maharaj, but we cannot imitate that. Later we will see that he feels ashamed, as he did not please the Lord as Prahlad Maharaj had wanted him to do. Actually, he did, but he felt he was not up to the mark. Bali will feel like that, but Prahlad Maharaj will say, you have pleased the Lord. We will see. In Srimad Bhagavatam 5:24-27. I will read this verse from the Bhagavatam 5:24-27. Sukadev Goswami continued, my dear king, how shall I glorify the character of Bali Maharaj? The Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Master of the three worlds, who is most compassionate to his own devotees, stands with club in hand at Bali Maharaj's door. When Ravan, the powerful demon, came to gain victory over Bali Maharaj, Vamandev kicked him a distance of 80,000 miles with his big toe. I shall explain the character and activities of Bali Maharaj later, and that is what we are hearing now in the 8th canto of the Bhagavatam. So Vamandev had a very powerful toe. First he kicked a hole in the universe, and then he kicked Ravan far away. So in the next verse, verse 8, Bali Maharaj is expressing his heart again. So can someone read the translation, please?
My grandfather Prahlad Maharaj is famous, being recognized by all your devotees. Although harassed in many ways by his father, Hiranyakashipu, he still remained faithful, taking shelter at your lotus feet.
Yes. So the purport says, a pure devotee like Prahlad Maharaj, although harassed circumstantially, in many ways never gives up the shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead to take shelter of anyone else. So sometimes devotees, they join and they get sick and something happens and they leave and take shelter of another movement or something, but Bali and Prahlad Maharaj were not like that. So a pure devotee never complains against the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A vivid example is Prahlad Maharaj. Examining the life of Prahlad Maharaj, we can see how severely he was harassed by his own father, Hiranyakashipu, yet he did not divert his attention from the Lord even to the smallest extent. Bali Maharaj, following in the footsteps of his grandfather, Prahlad Maharaj, remained fixed in his devotion to the Lord, despite the Lord's having punished him. If you complain, then you are not a pure devotee. You did not get the mercy. If you complain about something in this movement, which is your own problem, then you are not a pure devotee, according to this purport. So do not complain about the mercy. Devotees have misconceptions. Sometimes some devotee doubt that after initiation the Guru will take all my karma and then I will not become sick anymore. No, it is the mercy of the Lord. Text 9. Can someone read text 9?
Maharaj, you said about if you complain, you're not a pure devotee. That's a very nice point, Maharaj. So we got to be careful not to find faults, not to complain about the movement.
Yeah, that was the point of Bhujan Prabhu.
And be always tolerant.
Yeah.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you. So, someone can read text 9? Oh, thank you.
What is the use of
What is the
material
use of
body?
the material body? Which automatically leaves its owner at the end of life. And what is the use of all one's family members who are actually plunderers, taking the money that is useful for the service of the Lord in spiritual opulence? What is the use of all wise conditions? And what is the use of family, home, country, and community? Attachment for them merely wastes the valuable energy of one's lifetime.
So, the purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, advises Sarvadam Pritya and Mamkam Samvaja, giving up all other varieties of religion and just surrendering to me. The common man does not appreciate such statement by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because he thinks that during his lifetime, society, country, body, and relatives are everything. Why should one give up any of them and take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead? But from the behavior of great personalities like Prahlad Maharaj and Bali Maharaj, we understand that surrendering to the Lord is the right action for an intelligent person. Prahlad Maharaj took shelter of Vishnu against the will of his father. Similarly, Bali Maharaj took shelter of Vamandev against the will of his spiritual master. Sukracharya and all the leading demons. So, who else took shelter of Vishnu against the will of others? Someone has examples that
Brahmana's wives.
Brahman's wives, yeah, Shakya Patnis, and also the gopis. And that and Bhujan said mothers of those joining the Hare Krishna movement wanted to commit suicide. So Giraj Maharaj's father came to India to get him back. Give my son back. Srila Prabhupada said, you ask him, and if he wants, he can go with you. Srila Prabhupada said that he was offering him $1 million to come back. Kiraj Maharaj was living so austere in the beginning in Bombay. All was done was a hut, kitchen, prasadam room. Once he was lying under the table with fever. He said, I'm lying under the table because here no one will step over me. And he rejected $1 million. And that is really an inspiration. Also Gargamuni and Brahmananda were disowned from their family heritage, but they accepted Srila Prabhupada as their father. because their father disowned them. Further in the purport, people may be surprised that the devotees like Prahlad Maharaj and Bali Maharaj could seek shelter of the sight of the enemy, giving up the natural affinity for family, heart and home. In this connection, Bali Maharaj explained that the body, which is the center of all activities, is also a foreign element. So, the body is not natural, not normal. Even though we want to keep the body fit and helpful to our activities, the body cannot continue eternally. Although I am the soul which is eternal, after using the body for some time, I have to accept another body. Tatadhyantara praptir, Bhagavad Gita 2.13. Accept another body according to the laws of nature, unless I render some service with the body for advancement in devotional service. One should not use the body for any other purpose. One must know if he uses the body for any other purposes, he is simply wasting time, for as soon as the time is ripe, the soul will automatically leave the body. And then further, that at the end, one's lifetime, one's home and everything one has is not, if not properly used in the service of the Lord, are all sources of material conditions and of perpetual suffering under the threefold miseries, Adhyatmika, Adibhautika and Adidevika. Unfortunately, there is no situation in human society for education on this subject. People are kept in darkness about the goal of life, and thus there is continuous struggle for existence. What to speak of survival of the fittest? But no one survives, for no one is free from the material condition. So there is a similar verse in the 10th Canto, in the 14th chapter, verse 36. So I read the translation. My dear Lord, until people become your devotees, their material attachment and desires remain thieves, their home remains prisons, and their affectionate feelings for their family remain foot shackles. So in the purpose, Srila Prabhupada explains that if we are not using our possessions and family in Krishna's service, then they will simply be part of the prison. If we use them in Krishna's service, they will be part of liberation out of the prison. That we will read one verse more. Can someone read the translation of text 10?
My grandfather, the best of all men, who achieved unlimited knowledge and was worshipable for everyone, was afraid of the common man in this world. Being fully convinced of the substantiality afforded by shelter at your lotus feet, he took shelter of your lotus feet against the will of his father and demoniac friends, who were killed by your own son.
Mm-hmm. So this verse explains more deeply the mentality of Prahlad Maharaj. Because Prahlad Maharaj took shelter of Lord Nrsimhadev against the will of his father and his friends. And Bali Maharaj is exactly doing the same thing. He took shelter of Vamandev against the will of his guru and his demoniac friends. Exactly the same thing he is doing. It's in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 5th canto, chapter 24, text 23 till 26. These verses explain more deeply the mentality of Bali Maharaj. I read the translation. When the Supreme Personality of Godhead could see no other means of taking everything away from Bali Maharaj, he adopted the trick of begging from him and took away all the 3 walls. Thus only his body was left, but the Lord was still not satisfied. He arrested Bali Maharaj, bound him with the ropes of Varuna, and threw him in a cave in a mountain. Nevertheless, although all his property was taken away, he was thrown into a cave. Bali Maharaj was such a great devotee that he spoke as follows. So, and this is 5:24-24. There, Bali Maharaj is addressing Indra. He says, "Alas, how pitiable it is for Indra, the king of heaven, although he is very learned and powerful, and although he chose Brihaspati as his prime minister to instruct him, he is completely ignorant concerning spiritual advancement. Brihaspati is also unintelligent because he did not properly instruct his disciple Indra. Lord Vamandev was standing at Indra's door, but King Indra, instead of begging him for an opportunity to render transcendental loving service, engaged him in asking me for alms to gain the 3 volts for his son's gratification." So Bali is saying Indra had the opportunity to offer devotional service, but he did not do so. He asked for the universe. Then in 5:24-25, Bali Maharaj said, "My grandfather Prahlad Maharaj is the only person who understood his own self-interest. Upon the death of Prahlad's father, Hiranyakasipu, Lord Nrsimhadev wanted to offer Prahlad his father's kingdom and even wanted to grant him liberation from material bondage, but Prahlad accepted neither liberation and material opulence. He taught them as obstacles to devotional service, and therefore such gifts from the Supreme Personality of Godhead are not his actual mercy. Consequently, instead of accepting the results of karma and jnana, Prahlad Maharaj begged the Lord for engagement in his service in the service of his servant, his spiritual master, Narada Muni. It's 5:24-26. Bali Maharaj said, "Persons like us who are still attached to material enjoyment, who are contaminated by the modes of nature, and who lack the mercy of the Personality of Godhead, cannot follow the supreme path of Prahlad Maharaj, the exalted devotee of the Lord." So Bali Maharaj is following, but he feels that something is lacking. He is not a pure devotee as his father. So he's not giving himself any credit for what he has done. He was extremely humble. He had done such a thing that millions of followers were showering on him. But he's not taking credit at all. Now, how is it that he got the mercy of the Lord? And we will continue tomorrow with text 11. Any questions or comments, please?
Maharaj, did this pastime take multiple days? This pastime of binding, binding Bali Maharaj and things like that, because it says that if on this particular day there was something mentioned, the one day after 1 day of Somapan, after the Zakri was finished, Garuda arrested Bali Maharaj with the ropes. So that probably means it took multiple days. Demons they entered lower regions of universe.
Yeah, it probably takes a while for all these demons to enter the lower regions of the universe. Yeah. That there were millions of them. Because that's mentioned in the property. He was appreciated by millions of demons.
Basically, they were all in the heavenly planets. They were all living there because they had taken over control of Indraloka. So then from there, they were all they said Bali Maharaj and the Daityas entered the lower regions of the universe, to which they were driven by the soldiers of Vishnu.
So they were all over the universe. of course, all of the universe were Bhur higher than Sva, they could not go. That is the realm of Marloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka. That's too far away from them. That's not possible. But yes, they were all over the three worlds, and that took a while to bring them all to Sutal. But okay.
Yeah.
But the demons were happy because Sutal was more opulent than heaven, and that's what they wanted.
Right.
Yeah. At the end, everything comes good, but it's a pastime that helps us, for us to learn what surrender is.
Yes.
Any other point? Okay, then we will continue tomorrow. And continue with text 11. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Jai Prabhupada.
Recording stopped.